There's been plenty of discussion about the Australian extremists who've gone to Iraq and Syria to fight with Islamic State. But how about the Westerners voluntarily going to fight on the opposing side? A young Australian man, Ashley Johnston, thinking he was fighting for a noble cause, has become the first Westerner killed fighting in the counter-jihadi movement. Australian authorities believe Johnston was recruited by Kurdish militia online using the same methods as Islamic State. Under Australian law, Ashley Johnston died a criminal, but his family and comrades say he was only doing what he thought was right. This story from Sean Rubenstein Dunlop and Dylan Welch, and a warning it contains some disturbing images.
It's an unlikely recruiting patch for a Middle Eastern militia, but it was from the suburbs of Canberra that Ashley Johnston, a young Australian Army reservist, was lured into a faraway war.
He didn't want to do just some mundane thing. He wanted to do a job where he felt that he was helping people.
It was last week that Ashley Johnston's mother Amanda learned her only son had died on the battlefield.
If I had known that Ash was going to do what he did, I would have done everything I could to stop him from going, because I don't want anyone else, I don't want any other family to go through what we're going through.
Ash Johnston was a postman, bottle shop manager and member of the Army Reserve. He'd served as a peacekeeper in the Solomon Islands and tried to join the Special Forces and the Royal Marines, but couldn't get in. Last year, he found his calling.
It appears as if Mr. Johnston was in contact with people on Facebook who were offshore, and he was recruited. Now, Facebook and other social media pages have been used by organisations, including ISIS, to recruit people. They romanticise the conflict.
How did you find out that Ashley was in the Middle East?
He sent me a text. He'd been travelling overseas, and we keep in touch and talk practically every day. And then he sent a text to say that he was in the Middle East doing humanitarian work. So that was the
Since her son's death, Amanda Johnston has found clues that she missed earlier in his text messages from overseas. She'd thought he was in Europe, but in fact, he'd travelled secretly to Syria.
He actually put it there.
Ashley Johnston had taken up arms with the Kurdish People's Protection Unit, known as the YPG, in a fierce fight back against Islamic State in northern Syria.
I said to him, you haven't gone and joined some group and you're not doing something, you're not telling me. And he would either not answer me or he would just say, no, Mum, I haven't, I'm fine.
Ashley Johnston is now being mourned by Kurds and comrades like Dean Parker, an American surfing instructor who trained with him in Syria and laid a wreath at the Australian Embassy in Washington after learning of his death.
I met Ash in Rojava near the Rabia border crossing in one of the command posts. He had come in with a new unit of fighters, and he fit right in with the Kurds. Really relaxed, always a smile on his face, just a really good-hearted, really good human being. The world needs more people like Ash.
Ashley Johnston's comrades have told his family his unit was surrounded by Islamic State militants when their tank broke down last week.
The ISIS were closing in, and Ash jumped out of the vehicle to, draw them away, and he was shot. But it gave the others in the vehicle the chance to get out, and he saved their lives.
We strongly believe Ashley is a hero, not only for the Kurds, but the humanity and the people who are defending humanity.
The Kurdish forces have hailed Ash Johnston as a martyr on Facebook and have posed with the bodies of Islamic State fighters killed to avenge his death. The macabre photos have alarmed authorities in Australia, who warn fighting against Islamic State is a crime that carries the same penalties as fighting with the jihadists.
The exact whereabouts of Matthew Gardner continue to be unknown.
7:30 has confirmed there are 3 other Australians fighting with Kurdish and Christian forces, including the former Northern Territory Labor Party President Matthew Gardner and this man who spoke with the ABC from Iraq last month.
Yes, so these all Syrian Christian towns and villages were controlled by Daesh and still being controlled, except some of them being liberated.
There appears to be, not just in Australia, but if you look at information I'm getting from my contacts overseas, is that there is a growing number of people going to fight for opposition sides to the Islamic State.
I believe that he would have looked at the moral side of it, that these people needed help and he wanted to help them. And I think sometimes what's legal and what's moral, what's morally right, can be 2 different things.
Well, it's a very technical piece of law. You know, the black and white of it is, yes, they are committing a criminal offence. However, there are some other considerations which need to be taken into account. And one of those being that the Commonwealth Director of Public Prosecutions needs to be satisfied that it's in the best public interest to run a prosecution. Of course, if the person does go before a court, it's up to a judge or a magistrate to determine the sentence, and factors that you've mentioned could be taken into account for mitigation of sentence.
Amanda Johnston is still struggling to believe her son is gone.
He's always here. He'll always be here. I don't want to say goodbye. I don't think I can. Come on, babe. I don't think I can. I just don't want to say goodbye.
Sean Rubinstein, Dunlop and Dylan Welch reporting.